And with an Islamist government waiting in the wings, the future for ordinary Libyans is looking pretty doggone dim. You know, it's true that he was a thorn in the side of the West for years. But in recent years, Gaddafi had given up terrorism, and he had halted his WMD programs altogether. Anymore, he was not much more than a minor annoyance.
Part of the issue with Gaddafi was he was very demonstrably drawing down his old WMD capability now that the raw materials were there, and those needed to be secured. But there was, I remember, and in fact I talked to a journalist who was there for a long time through the summer, and he was saying there was nothing weaponized because they'd very deliberately stopped that program and were kind of in the process of disposing of it all.
Okay, so nobody else has got that interview. Nobody else has got that information. That NATO spokesman confirmed to me on the record that NATO lied when they said that they were going into Libya in order to protect the civilians and the protesters from him using weapons of mass destruction. They lied because they knew he had gotten rid of his weapons of mass destruction years before. In fact, they helped him do it. So they lied to the entire world and hoped nobody would notice. Well, I noticed, and according to my source in Toronto, the CIA noticed that I noticed. And just a few months later, my daughter, who as far as I knew had and still know, had a perfectly healthy heart, just drops dead from a massive heart attack brought on by some kind of seizure. At least that's what I was told. And I have to kind of question that because when I went to view her at the mortuary guy said that I didn't want to do that. He urged me in the strongest possible terms to leave it alone. He said that she was unviewable. He blamed the autopsy, but I've seen autopsies. They don't leave the decedent unviewable. So, all I got was a bag of ashes. I never got to see my baby girl again. So I have a lot of questions, but I never would have made a connection between my work and my daughter's death had that possibility not been suggested to me by my friend. Now, this is either the cruelest thing that one individual can say to one another, that your work is responsible for your daughter's death, indirectly, or there's possibly some truth to it. And that possibility exists. I can't reveal who he is, obviously, or even what he does for a living in order to protect his identity and his safety. But let's just say that he's in a position to know about weapons that the CIA uses to make deaths look accidental or natural. Now, so far, I could have said all of this from the safety of my home. Let's go back to Toronto for more of the story and a bit more explanation. Well, the reason that I'm in Toronto is because I came to look for my friend. After 8 years of almost daily communication, he's gone dark. His phone's been disconnected. He's not answering any of his emails. He's gone off of Facebook. Kind of adds to the mystery just a little bit, doesn't it? I've got a message for the CIA and any other three-letter agency that thinks that they can shut me up by hurting or threatening my family or my friends. If you want to shut me up, you'd better come see me. Step up to me face to face. Don't be a spookworm. Be a man. Why don't you come see me? You know where I live. You and I will dance. But I'm assuming that you don't have the balls to do that. So I want you to know that I'm looking for you. And when I find you, I'm going to bring every legal resource I can find to bear to make sure that you pay for the death of my daughter. So if any of you spooks have a problem with me or a problem with anything that I report, you need to hold me responsible. You leave my friends and my family out of it. Well, after I got home, thank God, I did get a message from my friend confirming that he is alive and well, which is all I'm going to say about him at this point. Now, I have to admit, I don't know for a fact that my daughter was murdered by the CIA or anybody. She could have been one of the 7,000 people a year in her age range that die from a natural heart attack. But that is so rare. And besides, if she was murdered in an attempt to send me a message, it wasn't a very clear message. Now, in order to make it more clear, they should have taped a little note on my steering wheel that said, think about the other 4 of your kids. So, that gives me pause there. But to have a man that I trust tell me that this was a possibility, I have to look into it because it's haunted me for months. When I was driving through Ohio, he listened to me cry, and he listened to me wail and scream at God. Over the death of my firstborn child. He literally held my hand for hours, and he lifted me up in prayer, and he was there with me when I needed him. So I trust him, and if he's got something to say about this, I owe it to him to hear him out. Now, I know that many of my viewers subscribe to different faiths. Many of my viewers are Christian, many are Jewish, many are Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, Sikh, even some agnostics and atheists thrown in there too. So a lot of you will understand this. Some of you may not. But once I got into Canada, I felt God's presence with me. And it was kind of that stern, fatherly presence, if you know what I mean. I was in a desperate situation. I was broke, far from home, and all this was due to a very strange sequence of events. But I could feel the hand of God on me, and only for the second time in my life. He was making his will known not by that little voice in your head, but by manipulating events to force me to do his will. Now, the first time that this happened, I was 15 years old. I was driving my mom's station wagon. I think it was a Zephyr. It's one of those fake wood paneling station wagons down this dirt road. I had no license. I was just joyriding and driving down this dirt road with a blind corner at the end of it, right? And I'm only going maybe 45 miles an hour. It's a very straight road, and I'm getting ready to drift into this corner like I'm Bo or Luke Duke out of the Dukes of Hazzard, right? I was, just going to gun it and slide around that corner. Well, here I am going straight down this dirt road, 45 miles an hour, no problems. All of a sudden, my car is forced off the road laterally. I didn't blow a tire. My linkage didn't break. I didn't turn the steering wheel. My car was shoved into the ditch that had little saplings about that big around in it, and relatively gently slowed the car, so I wasn't hurt. Now, just a few seconds after that, around that corner came two Mormon missionaries on their bicycles, and I knew these men. One of them was named Elder Hale. They had introduced me to the Mormon faith a few months earlier. Had I fishtailed around that blind curve as I had planned, I would have killed them. Nobody can tell me that that wasn't a miracle. And I believe the same type of thing happened to me in Toronto. I believe that God purposely deprived me of transportation in order to keep me safe. Because I've accomplished what I went there to do. I found my friend. We're back in touch, and he's safe for the moment. I think we're all safe for the moment. And so it all worked out in the end. So who knows what the Lord has in store for me yet. Maybe he's got more for me to do. And then he sent a few angels to help me. And no, they aren't the kind with halos and wings, but they did have very giving hearts. They came off the internet in the form of viewers that sent in donations, and they came in person in the form of people from all different faiths in the city of Toronto that came to aid me in my time of need. I can't tell you how beautiful that was. And through everyone's efforts, through the monetary donations and what the people of Toronto did for me, I didn't make a dime. I was out the $500 that I had originally budgeted for the trip, of course. But your donations, once they reached exactly what I needed to pay, they stopped. And I didn't even have to ask. I was given exactly what I needed to get home with $20 and a quarter tank of gas. As far as I'm concerned, that's another doggone miracle. And God bless the people that were moved to help me.